Hey, I'm Bob. Been totally blind since birth. I'm into Power Rangers. I'm holding the box set in my hands yet again. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 50 today. This one's called Return of an Old Friend Part 2, and it aired on March 1st in 1994 for the first time. So, Part 1 had quite a lot to do with the immediate families of the Rangers and the lengths that they would go to in order to free their parents. They actually gave up their power coins and their powers. In part two, I feel like it has more to do with a group of people that might consider an individual family or vice versa. And we'll be talking about that quite a bit. So we see Tommy by himself as the episode opens. And he is the only hope of the team in order to reacquire the coins and the dragon dagger that was stolen. They have to teleport him away before the Dremel's mind control gases can affect him. Rita and Goldar, they do catch wind of this, but they underestimate Tommy. He has no powers, of course, because they were extinguished when the green candle went out quite a few episodes back. And Zordon does have a solution. And he plans on giving up quite a huge chunk of his life force in order to recharge Tommy. And I don't think Zordon's doing this just because it's the only way to reacquire the coins and the dragon dagger. I think Zordon cares quite a lot about these kids, and it wouldn't matter if it was Kim or Trini or Zach or Jason or Billy, any of them who needed help from their mentor. This great sage would be willing to do it for any of them, and it's quite a selfless nature that Zordon has, and this, of course, is going to be revisited quite a few seasons down the road. In a certain season finale, quite a few fans may remember rather fondly. So, yeah, Zordon does manage to recharge Tommy's powers with his own life force, but he is greatly weakened. So Tommy morphs into action. He's got to fight Goldar, Putties, but he does reacquire the dragon dagger. And Scorpina, she comes down right after Tommy reacquires his Zord and the dragon dagger. Of course, we get to see Goldar and Scorpina. They're both in giant form, and they're going up against Dragon Zord. But those two realize that the power coins have been left unguarded, and Tommy manages to get back over there, grab the coins, but he hurts himself due to the force field they were trapped in. It hurts him to the point that he passes out, and Zordon has already given up quite a lot of his life force to the point where he's just gone. And so he comes back to the command center. He's passed out. Zordon's gone. And the other Rangers, they demonstrate how much they've grown to care for their mentor. I feel like Zordon, at this point in the show, he is pretty much a second father to all of these kids. So they use their power coins, and they use a bit of their own powers in order to revitalize their mentor. And Alpha, he gets a bit emotional after this is done and Zordon's back and everything's hunky-dory again. And I like that. Alpha, he kind of reminds me of 3PO and R2-D2 from Star Wars. Even though they're robots, you tend to view them as, kind of like family. I mean, if something were to happen to any of these characters, if they were to ever, pass away, it would be quite tough to endure. So I like that robots and Power Rangers and Star Wars, well, they're quite a lot more than robots. And I mean, it just goes to show you that you can come to view a group of people that you've gotten to know as family. You don't have to be blood. They don't have to be blood to you. That doesn't matter. That's not what makes family a family. So we do see the Rangers morphing back into action. Tommy's still under the weather. He's still passed out. Rita's got the drama monster. She's got one more card to play. So she sends him, and he brainwashes 4 out of the 5 Rangers. Kimberly is the only one unaffected by the gas that's emitting from this monster's, I think it's his armpits. Gross. So Tommy, he does come back to consciousness, and I think the force field has somehow recharged his powers as well. I don't know if he was exposed to the Rangers' power coins, if somehow he soaked up some of their energy too. So he morphs into action, and I think it's his power coin or his dragon dagger. He blasts and neutralizes the effects of the Dramel's gases. So I don't know if he does it with his power coin or his dragon dagger, but everyone's back to normal, and Rita makes the monster grow. They jump right into the Megazord. They don't even go into tank mode here in this episode. Kind of reminds me of how I would form Megazord when I was a kid. Before I knew they went into tank mode, I just kind of formed the Megazord right away. And it kind of reminds me of what happened in this episode. No tank mode. They just go right into robot mode, and it is quite a battle with the Megazord, the Dragon Zord, because Tommy's back in action and he summons his Zord. Oh, by the way, in terms of Dremel, I wish Hasbro would make that. He'd be a fun monster to add to the Lightning collection. I did own Dremel when I was a kid as part of the old Evil Space Aliens line from Bandai. He could claw. And he came with this weird staff that he didn't use in the show either. But let's see, what could he come with? I would say some kind of effects piece that would emulate the gases that he could exude from either his nostrils, I think, or his armpits. That'd be kind of gross, but okay. He could fire lightning from his eyes, so maybe a bit of lightning to wrap around his snout or his eyes there on either side. He had a weird looking face, but I loved the design of Dremel. He was one of my favorite monsters. And this Dremel monster, he never talks in this two-parter. He just kind of burbles and grumbles to himself. He always sounded quite creepy to me. So that was a really spooky sounding monster here. I think out of all the monsters, this one creeped me out the most when I was a kid. Not nightmare fuel or anything, but he was just really cool. And so, yeah, Ultrazord is eventually formed, of course, and Dremel is destroyed by all of the weapons firing on him at once. Rita's upset. The parents are released after Dremel was destroyed. Nobody remembers being held captive. And Zordon and Alpha let the Rangers, as well as Tommy, know that this is only a temporary solution concerning Tommy's powers. They need to find a permanent solution, otherwise he might or will eventually lose his powers for good. So, I mean, that's a plot device that we're going to see again quite a bit in part 2. Tommy, he's always going to be in pain when he morphs. Not always, but I mean, it's pretty frequent. Kind of reminds me of somebody struggling with an internal illness. Some days you have easier times than others, and sometimes you just hurt, but you got to keep going. And this is kind of what we see Tommy doing for quite a while, as he is struggling to maintain his powers and struggling to fight alongside the other Rangers, even though it hurts him physically. I don't know if it's got something to do with the morphing grid taxing his physical body or what. I don't pretend to understand the science of how all this works. But they go back to the youth center, or maybe the school, and everybody gets into a nice food fight, and the episode ends on a good laugh. It was a really fun episode. Of course, we get to see Kimberly's mom and dad, and they let her know that just because they're split up, it doesn't mean that they blame her, and they still love her very much. And that was a cool scene to throw in there. Love how much this two-parter had to do with family. It was quite a fun two-parter. Next time we're going to be talking about Grumblebee, I believe. So be here for that. I'll hear you guys in the next Power Rangers related video. May the power protect you, and have a great day.